G'day guys, Mac with the Outer Circle, and today we are looking at the Genesis of a Legion, expanding the build. So the original video I put up on Genesis of a Legion planning a build was back on the 5th of June, and basically back then that was prior to the box set releasing, and I was discussing the plans for here's what I want to do with building up the force, here's the inspiration for the colour schemes, the patterns, what I want to try and go for, the more dull and muted green tones as opposed to the really bright sort of lime green 40k tones, the sorts of decals, patterns, things like that, and the basic units that are in the starter box and how it's going to convert them. Well, obviously, flash forward to recent events, that's done. We've done all the conversions on that box, and apart from eye lenses, that's all up to scratch. So, where do we go from there? Well, I've done a series of videos lately talking about the wrong choices people make with how they expand their force, focusing on things like, let's get a super heavy tank and let's, buy a Titan, something silly, and said that's not how I would do it. And what you're going to see here is how I'm going to do it for this force, and in particular, I have a Rite of War in mind that I actually want to run. And that is the Covenant of Fire Rite of War, which is a Salamander-specific one, which I will obviously expand on when I do the Part 2 Getting Started in Horus Heresy video for the Salamanders. Those videos are about to kick off very soon, for those who are curious. Just trying to get a little bit more feedback from out in the wild, how people's actual games have gone first before we do that, because I want to give you guys the most realistic and truthful information possible in my videos. I don't just want to rush the content out for the sake of the clicks. So that's why we're waiting. I want feedback on the Legion tactics and how I think they play versus how they actually do play. And thankfully a lot of those reports have already started filtering in, which is nice because it means the videos are coming soon. Now with this particular force and the Covenant of Fire, the Covenant of Fire Rite of War makes Pyroclast scoring troops, which is very important. Not many Rites of War actually make the special units that it allows become troops. Salamander's Covenant of Fire does, and it also makes tactical support squads with Dragon's Breath Flamers, just like the squad I made in the center of frame, scoring troops as well. So it's like, okay, that is really awesome for me, because I love both of those units, because they don't see a lot of tabletop time. The Pyroclasts especially were not great in the last edition. They were good, I guess, but they weren't great. And this makes them kind of great. So that's the Rite of War I'll be looking at. With that in mind, I'm obviously going to expand the force first with... I actually have 20 Legion Pyroclasts. So that's the starting point. 2 squads of 10 of these guys, as well as the 10 Legion Tactical Support Squad members. They will be my minimum troops choices, and then I will supplement them as required with the tactical squads out of the basic boxed set, if I feel I need more scoring units depending on the points size games I play. Now, obviously there's a bit of a theme here, and that theme is Flamers. And because of the theme of Flamers, people are going to ask the natural question, which is, how many Flamers do you have? And my answer, of course, will be yes. Because there is no hard cap on how many Flamers I can have. One of the interesting things about it is that, being Salamanders, I can swap out any heavy bolter for a heavy Flamer. And so, I'll be also taking a Sicaran Venator. This one here will be loaded up with, funny enough, heavy Flamers. So it's going to be basically one or the other. It's going to be my main anti-tank weapon. That's why I want to take it in the Force. And Salamanders have a lot of the high-tech equipment, the Master Artificers, their own forge ship, Relic forge ship, very unique amongst the Crusade fleets. They're the only one that has one. And so this tank to me is a perfect fit. Plus I think the hull gives me a lot of interesting painting opportunities. I can do something similar to what I did on the doors of the Spartan, for instance, in the little cut inlets on the side of the vehicle here. Where the track sort of is cut out on the top of the vehicle there. I think I can put some nice flame effects in there, maybe some decals, do something interesting. Of course, I want to have the entire vehicle armed with flamers. because it's going to be a case of, hey, you sneak up on this tank, you're getting all of the flamers. It'll be 3 heavy flamers straight in the face, which is pretty cool. Actually, no, that would be pretty hot. But yeah, an anti-tank and actually a surprisingly strong anti-infantry platform in the form of the Salamanders. Moving on from there, I also will have 10 Fire Drakes. Now, Fire Drakes, especially 10 of them, is an incredibly expensive option. But I want them for a few reasons. I want them to be supplemental HQ or command squad option. I also want them as the option of being Fire Drakes themselves, and since I have the Spartan, that will naturally make a good common sense vehicle for carrying the unit. So that's all stuff to keep in mind when I actually get around to doing the unit of Fire Drakes, but they're not going to make it into every list. It's just, I love the models. They are rock hard, and 3+ Invulnerables are very rare in the Horus Heresy, making them quite good in that regard. But they're not the most common of units, so, and at 740 points, I think, for 10, they are a lot of points. But I'll make them and I'll wheel them out as I deem necessary. Moving on from there, Proteus Land Speeders. So, again, needing anti-tank, I can't just rely on the Venator. As the force gets bigger, well, I need something that can move in fast and kill enemy ranged anti-tank units that may be sitting on their side of the battlefield. Now, I'm thinking a Proteus Land Speeder, possibly with Multi-Melter and Heavy Flamer, might be the loadout of choice. But we'll see how we go. Graviton Gun is really good, don't get me wrong. Haywire is incredibly strong in this edition, but I really want to play to type. Whilst the Haywire will probably be more effective than the Multi-Melter in many situations, the idea of just being 100% dedicated to the stereotype of Salamanders, which is Melter and Flamer, really does appeal to me. This is my first Salamanders army. So I want to make the most of the theme, because the theme is what interests me. Obviously, I put it out there to the community in a poll, which legion should I do? You guys picked Salamanders. But hey, I'm committed to the path, and because of that, we're going to try and do it justice. And picking the most optimal load isn't the best way to do it justice. Picking the things that I think are going to be fun is, and it's Horus Heresy. Generally, if you think it's going to be fun, it's probably also going to be kind of good anyway. So, yeah, that's how that'll work out. Then, of course, Deimos Pattern Predator Infernus. So, if I take all Dragon's Breath weapons, so I lose the AP3 Flamestorm Cannon, and instead gain a Torrent Strength 6 AP4 weapon, then I can take these as non-compulsory troops choices instead of heavy support. That's a very tasty option. Plus, it's a really cool tank. I feel like taking 4 of these would be pretty fun. And again, Pintle Heavy Flamer, Sponson Heavy Flamers, Flamestorm on the main turret, all the flamers in the world. Obviously, this army is just, if you're Solar Auxilia or Militia, you do not want to face this army, because we were just going to erase you from existence, and I do apologize in advance for that, but yeah. For the legions, though, things like Terminators, Power Armor, they're not going to be too phased by the... Even though there's a lot of flamers, they're still going to be getting 2-up and 3-up saves, sometimes with rerolls. They'll be fine. But the poor Solar Auxilia and Imperial Militia, they're not. They're in a world of trouble. But these are coming in plastic. The problem is this loadout is not coming in plastic, so I'm left with a conundrum. Do I go to Forge World, buy a bunch of these in resin for the correct loadout, or get the plastic kit and hope that I can get upgrades? No, I'm probably not going to do either of those things. I'm probably going to buy the plastic ones and upgrade them with 3D printed parts into the correct type of Predator, since Games Workshop doesn't want to release the correct weapons for the Predator tank that I need. Instead, I'm getting a Twingling Delaz cannon in the kit when I could be using a Flamestorm, which sucks. Not salty at all. What are you talking about? And lastly, the Land Raider Armored Proteus. So getting these in, at least 2 of them as dedicated transports for the Pyroclasts would be ideal, I think. We're probably going to go for the Proteus in plastic that's going to come with the Assault Ramp. I'm going to call it the Bulldog Jaw. that is coming out. So we're probably going to go down that route, I think. And I'll do the same sort of colour scheme or pattern that I did on the Spartan. So the hazard stripes on the engine deck there, maybe flames on the door hatches on the sides. I might do something different there because it is the Pyro class vehicles as opposed to the Fire Drake Spartan, which was supposed to be a bit of a standout vehicle. Maybe I'll do something to make the Land Raiders like clearly Land Raider 1, Land Raider 2 type territory, so that you can tell they are two different tanks, but they're related to one another in some way. Yeah, that might be the way I go about it. Anyway, that's it. That's all from me. That is how I'm going to expand the force, and then I think once I've done that, we'll be looking at like 2,500, 3,000 point force. So there'll be no need to do any other serious expansions on that unless I want to look at going into super heavy territory or starting to expand outside of that Covenant of Fire, Rite of War, and looking at just doing generic, hey, my force is going to cover a whole bunch of different scenarios, like, hey, are we going to add aircraft, are we going to add artillery, etc., etc. It's not the route I have planned out currently, therefore not going to debate at this point in time. Anyway, that's all for me. Hope you all got something out of the episode, and I'll catch you all on the next one.